Well, it certainly seems like Donald Trump may have actually used the IRS, or at least his hand-picked crony who was running the IRS, to target his political enemies. Reports came out this week showing that both James Comey and Andrew McCabe, both of which, ran afoul of Trump during his administration, and he fired both of the men at different times throughout the administration. But they were both subjected to an extremely rare form of IRS audit. Again, as one of Donald Trump's hand-picked little minions was running that agency. The odds of the audit that Comey received, only 5,000 people in the country were audited under those same guidelines that James Comey was audited under. For McCabe, he was only one of 8,000 chosen to be audited under this Trump appointee at the IRS, who, by the way, is still running the IRS. And in fact, Andrew McCabe's one of 8,000 people being audited happened after Trump left office. And this guy's still sitting there. Biden still has this guy running the IRS. Now, it's possible. It's possible because the IRS says, nope, totally random. Just, wow, what a coincidence, right? Totally possible and plausible even that these were just random, right? That they called your number, you got picked. That there was no political interference in this at all. And as it stands right now, we don't have any evidence to suggest that this was politically motivated, that Trump directed this, or that Trump wasn't involved and that his guy at the IRS just said, I'm going to get these guys that were mean to my daddy. But if it were only the two of them, I would say, sure, possibility of a coincidence is low, but not impossible. But then on Thursday, more news came out. Because it turns out another person who ran afoul of Donald Trump also got one of these audits. And that individual happens to be Michael Cohen, his former lawyer/fixer. So if it happens to one person, right, who pissed Trump off, it's like, okay, well, yeah, it happens. Happens to two, wow, that's kind of odd. Happens to three? Sorry. You are not in a million years going to convince me that this was, it's just a total coincidence that only Trump's people out of, 14,000 people in the country, 13,000? Oh, yeah, it just happens to be all the people who don't like Donald Trump that have turned against him, allegedly. Right? McCabe and Comey weren't even 100% against Trump. I mean, yeah, Michael Cohen's been cooperating with investigators against Trump, so sure. But even Comey and McCabe, all they wouldn't do, was basically kill the Russia investigation like Trump wanted them to do. I think with McCabe, obviously, it's a little bit, more intense than that, but they weren't even that big of enemies to him. McCabe, I guess, was with, the impeachment and all that, but either way, the odds... The odds are just astronomical that this would have been coincidental, which, of course, is why the Inspector General has now decided to look into this. Congress is now suggesting that maybe they're going to look into it, too, because this doesn't seem right. The problem is you're not going to be able to tie Donald Trump to this. You're just not. Could you probably get the director of the IRS? 100%. Because he's not the guy that does the audits. He would have had to have said, go audit this person. So if that is somewhere in writing, if it's in a text message, email, a memo, whatever it is, then yeah, we got him. That's easy. If it's just word of mouth, a lot harder to prove. And if Trump did direct him to do this, Trump would not have, sent it in a tweet. He wouldn't have made it on anything that could be traceable. So that's why I say, even if Trump directed it, you'd never be able to pin it on him. And honestly, I don't think Trump did. I don't think Trump's clever enough to do that. I think his guy at the IRS understood that these people pissed him off and he wanted to make Trump happy by doing this. You can probably pin it on him if there is a paper trail. And if not, we're about to investigate something that we all know happened, but none of us would be able to prove. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share, but again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.